Hello and welcome to the Daily Debate Live Wednesday with Taghreed Hussein here on Nile TV International. Tonight we'll be talking on two segments regarding two important topics: Egypt launching the National Population and Development Strategy. That is a very important congress, the first global congress on population, health and development that Egypt is currently hosting. And in his speech, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said that while having children is a freedom, if this freedom is not regulated, it can definitely cause a disaster to the country. The president had added that some people are unaware of the seriousness of the population challenge, and the society, the Egyptian state, is definitely paying the price. Sisi said that Egypt needs to keep annual population growth at a certain rate for the next 20 years in order to keep on providing the different services and to provide those services that have been in place for many decades, adding that the state has paid nearly 10 trillion Egyptian pounds in order to develop the infrastructure over the past decade amid the different population challenges. And also another important file and another success for Egypt joining the BRICS, and definitely lots of benefits for Egypt after joining the BRICS. What's the outlook and more? We're really honored to have with us Dr. Hossam Allam. He's our global affairs expert tonight. Dr. Hossam, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure.
Pleasure is ours always, and together we'll be reading those two important headlines. Dr. Hossam, well, talking about the first global conference on population and health that comes very much timely as Egypt and the president are working very hard in order to provide a quality of life for the Egyptian citizen, investing in the human character. Definitely the population challenge is there, but we are trying to deal. The Congress comes as an eye-opener timely to this important topic. Holding it in Egypt, we've seen many experts around, think tanks, intellectuals. How is it posing a challenge in your opinion?
Well, this is definitely a very important question, especially in view of many of the facts that pertain to the current situation, not just locally or regionally, but even globally. It is very obvious that the overpopulation is one of the challenges that is facing many economies around the globe. And for Egypt to take the initiative to hold and to host such an initiative, and a very important initiative with such a global event, is definitely reflective of the keenness of the Egyptian state to take a meaningful stance on this regard, with a view of unifying and reaching a unified global consensus as to a clear strategy and practical steps in order to tackle this challenge in particular, and the challenges that stem from this main challenge in particular. And I do think that this comes actually in line with the SDGs, or the Sustainable Development Goals adopted by the United Nations on a global scale, and also with Egypt's 2030 vision and the strategies stemming from it. So we can clearly see here a keenness and an obvious interest of tackling this challenge and the challenges stemming from it. And definitely one state alone cannot do all what it takes in order to tackle this challenge. And this is why there is always a global stance that is needed in order to tackle this challenge, especially because we have ramifications, or if you like, repercussions that stem from this challenge, be it in the form of poor living conditions, problems that relate to malnutrition, for instance, and
Yes.
also providing the employability opportunities, especially for young people and women. So definitely, I do think that this is something that comes out of the recognition that Egypt is a key player in the region and globally, and especially in view of the fact that clearly Egypt is one of the countries in the world that has a growing population, and most of the population are young people. So definitely trying to regulate this within a global perspective or from a global dimension is definitely a worthwhile step.
Yes, it is a worthwhile step. We're talking the challenge of overpopulation, but at the same time thinking sustainability. So the main theme is reflecting on this sense of link, healthy population as well as sustainability, sustainable development. How do you see the impact actually of this challenge of overpopulation on sustainability? We're addressing this issue. We are putting sustainability definitely as a priority, and it is among the main pillars of the SDGs and our vision of 2030, as you kindly mentioned.
Well, the statistics are very clear in this regard. So, statistically speaking, we clearly see how is it overpopulation poses a great challenge to the development strategies and plans in many countries around the globe. And this even becomes clearer when we are aware of the very essential understanding that sustainability comes down to the wise and meaningful management and usage of the current and available natural resources. And also keeping in mind the right of future generations to have access to these natural resources and also benefit from them. So keeping all of this in mind brings about a sense of awareness of the considerable challenges that all decision makers and stakeholders are facing or are encountering in this regard. And I would definitely here be encouraged actually to highlight some of the initiatives taken by the Egyptian state in this regard over the past decade when it comes, for example, to the Egyptian initiative known as Haya Karima, or a quality life, or towards achieving
life initiative.
Towards achieving a decent life for all the population, and also all the initiatives that pertain to taking care of the health of the population, the 1 million health initiative, the 100-day initiative for taking care of the health of the population. But still, in view of the current statistics and with this rise in the number of the population and the expansion of the population, definitely there is a dire need for raising awareness of how to raise a family effectively, so that it is not a burden on the parents, on the constituents of the family, as well as locally and even globally, because this is reflected, for example, when it comes to challenges, global challenges, I mean, like illegal immigration, which in return leads to a greater human crisis, which is sometimes represented in the form of human trafficking and even modern day slavery in some parts of the world. So the bottom line, or to cut it short here, there is a dire need to raise awareness on all levels, starting from the family level, Of course,
and the media definitely also
plays
a very important role in that.
A very crucial role in this regard, and also when it comes to decision makers and decision takers and all stakeholders in this regard.
Yes, definitely. A very important topic, and actually that is providing also, the conference is providing a unique opportunity for the policymakers, for the intellectuals,
of course,
for the think tanks.
In the sense of, or when it comes to benefiting from the experience of other countries in this regard, and how to reach a global or a worldwide strategies of how countries can coordinate with each other economically and also policy wise in order to encounter and in order to tackle all the challenges stemming from overpopulation.
Yes, definitely. Nile TV International has been covering definitely since yesterday and His Excellency's inauguration of this important population congress. Our correspondent Hani Farag had the upcoming interview with Mr. Jeremy Hopkins, UNICEF representative in Egypt. Let's watch.
So we have now the pleasure to have with us on Nile TV International Mr. Jeremy Hopkins. He is a representative of UNICEF here in Egypt. Pleasure, sir, and honor to have you on Nile TV International.
It's a pleasure for me too.
Thanks a lot for this interview. And my first question about the aims that you are seeing here behind this conference and what you can tell us about the achievements after the holding of this Congress.
Well, this conference is looking at the interplay between population health and development, and of course those are the three critical elements, if you like, of the discussion. So today brings together a whole host of experts over the next few days who will be discussing the challenges that we face in Egypt and shared experiences from other countries, where we look at how we can ensure that the population has access to health and that the country develops as it should. And of course, as head of UNICEF, my concern and my interest is that every child is able to fulfill her rights, and every child has the right to thrive and survive and be protected, and this is regardless of population growth, but it is nevertheless one of the challenges that is on the table today.
Yes, this leads us to another question about the services that we have to present to the population in these conditions, in the actual conditions in the world. How do you see the challenges which are facing nowadays the population?
Well, the challenges are enormous. I mean, every country faces challenges, and of course we're here in Egypt. So when a child is born, the child has the right to a healthy start in life. Then we need to make sure the child has the right early childhood care. We make sure that the child has the right fulfills his or her right to go to school, receive an education, learning, and then eventually is ready as a young person to enter the job market. So these are a whole series of challenges which the government has taken on very admirably through a vast number of programs, and of course UNICEF is there working with the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Social Solidarity, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Sports and Youth, Ministry of Education, to ensure that the national systems are strong enough and resilient enough to cope with the growing demand presented by the population growth.
So you are remarking that there is an expansion of services here in Egypt in order to meet the needs of population.
There is, of course, an expansion of services, and I think the government is at pains to show that the government is trying its best to increase the supply of services to meet the growing demand.
How do you see this imbalance, not balance between the growth or population growth overpopulation, rather, growth and the economic growth?
You know, the way we see the population growth as an opportunity, not as a threat. It's an opportunity.
How?
It's an opportunity because we have the richness of a country is its people. So we have an extraordinarily rich heritage and an exciting set of opportunities ahead of us with a young population.
Yeah.
We need to make sure we take advantage of that and that we invest correctly to make sure that those children can indeed achieve their rights.
Yeah. How we can invest in the human capital, in the human resources from your point of view?
Well, I would like to see always consistently growing investment in the health and education systems in Egypt, and this is something that we are in constant dialogue with the government on. If we can invest in the early years, we can ensure that children enter adulthood ready to face the demands that are placed upon them.
So, Mr. Jeremy Hopkins, thanks a lot for this interview. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Yes, as Mr. Hopkins, Dr. Allam has emphasized that it is still, we are going on and investing in the people, and this is what is important. Creating this sense of awareness that we were talking about before the interview, plus investment in the people, in the Egyptians, which will be definitely reflected also on creating new job opportunities and the youth. Mentioning the youth and children, so what an investment.
Definitely, it's a very important asset to consider when it comes to the development strategy of any country. And as I said earlier, overpopulation is a challenge faced by many countries around the world, and for this global event to be held at this timing is definitely reflective of the awareness of the Egyptian state of the pressing need to tackle such local, global, and global challenge on a global level. And it is obvious that from all the considerable number of experts from around the globe, that such a very important initiative taken by the Egyptian state is not falling into deaf ears.
Yes, definitely. From the success in this field in discussion of the overpopulation issues and sustainability to another important file, which is Egypt's accession to the BRICS. Well, definitely this was a great hit for Egypt, a great hit for our national economy. It's definitely going to add economic gains to the country. This is considered to be a very important step forward towards increasing our exports and definitely also attracting foreign investments. As you know, dear audience, that one of the most important economic groupings is the BRICS in the world today, as it is growing. And it groups Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Egypt's membership in the BRICS is opening very important and promising opportunities for the country for cooperation among those economies, and also further fostering Egypt's relations, bilateral cooperation with the members and the new members also that has joined the BRICS, opportunities for trade exchange, bolstering a sense of competitiveness to the Egyptian economy. This also in aiding in further attracting investments, direct foreign investment to the country. So lots of opportunities with Dr. Hossam Allam. We are going to tackle more about Egypt's gains from joining the BRICS and successes in this file. Let's see the report and we'll be back.
Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli asserted that Egypt's joining the BRICS is a translation of Egypt's policy and its keenness on establishing balanced relations with all parties. Egypt's joining BRICS is a result of the strenuous efforts exerted by the political leadership and all state officials. He said the main objective of joining BRICS is that it involved multilateral leadership of major powers, which strikes a balance that achieves common interests among member states. The key 5 states in the BRICS represent more than 31% of the global local product and 40% of the world population. Egypt's membership as a key member would help in achieving several privileges, including obtaining soft loans and funding to complete key projects. It would also contribute to establishing partnership with the bloc's members, in addition to a trade exchange with local currency. Meanwhile, Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry said that Egypt seeks stronger cooperation with the BRICS bloc, stressing that the current global economic situation requires urgent dialogue among developing countries on ways to promote peace and prosperity. Inviting Egypt to join the BRICS confirms its growing role in the global economy and its ability to contribute to formulating a more inclusive and just international economic system that takes into account the interests and contributions of the emerging economies and peoples of the global south. Shoukry noted that the global economic system is facing multiple crises which are impacting food security, energy, debt levels and climate. He affirmed Egypt's commitment to a strong relation with the BRICS bloc and other developing countries, highlighting their shared positions on global economic challenges and opportunities. The BRICS bloc, which now consists of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, is expanding its membership for a more multilateral action and cooperation based on principles of national sovereignty, mutual respect, common benefits and solidarity. Egypt's membership in both the New Development Bank and the BRICS bloc and the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank demonstrates Cairo's support for the efforts of the two banks in financing infrastructure in the developing world, particularly in Africa.
Yes, a great hit, Dr. Allam. Egypt joining the BRICS, more on the opportunities, new opportunities, definitely new doors open, further attracting foreign direct investment. What are the new doors that we are going, or we are expected to knock after this hit?
Definitely, this is a very important question in this regard. And let me start here by providing some sort of a context in this regard. We are going through a very critical moment when it comes to the global stage. We can see, as a matter of fact, tectonic shifts taking place and many issues regarding the balance of power, not only on a regional level but on a global scale as well. So definitely for Egypt to be invited officially to join the BRICS bloc, it signifies or signals here a turning point for both, for Egypt and also for the BRICS bloc simultaneously. This is simply for the fact that if the joining of Egypt would not add strength and power to this economic bloc, the invitation would never have been provided.
Yes.
So this
it's a win-win situation.
Of course, and this is how politics run, and especially when it comes to international relations from a realist perspective.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying here, if we look at this invitation from the part of the BRICS countries, definitely this signals their confidence in the Egyptian state, because we clearly, and this is not a secret here in this regard, the fact that many countries, as a matter of fact, have stepped forward and expressed their interest to join the BRICS countries. So this becomes even more meaningful when we look into the very strict criteria or requirements that the founding BRICS countries stipulate for countries to join the bloc, the economic bloc. For instance, among them are the political stability of the country, as well as the potential or the prospect
of the economy
to grow in a meaningful way, as well as providing a strategic location or geography that would ensure boosting the international trade of the countries of the alliance in a way that benefits the global economy, and especially of the developing countries in this regard. So this is, as I said earlier, on the part of the bloc's countries. As for Egypt, and this is to answer your question here in this regard, definitely, and I repeat, it signifies a turning point in Egypt's recent history. Definitely, it provides Egypt with the prospect of being part of a very promising global market or trading avenue, because here we are talking about an economic alliance that brings together around 40% of the global population. So this definitely means it's a great opportunity for Egypt to maximize its ability to trade with all of these countries of the BRICS, both the founding members and the new invited members starting of next year. Also, this provides the opportunity to boost Egypt's innovation and technological advancement, as this will become even easier with such alliance and joining this economic bloc, especially in view of the fact that Egypt has a very characteristic and prominent geographical and strategic geographical location, as it has and it hosts the shortest point of connection between the East and the West. So statistically speaking, we know that more than or up to 12% of global containers pass through the Suez Canal, and this is even more likely to increase in the near future, especially in light of the new expansion that the Suez Canal witnessed recently. So my point is, definitely this brings a huge and considerable potential for Egypt, and an unmissable opportunity for Egypt to maximize its economic gains, both regionally and globally, because it is definitely good news to Egypt that two also close Arab countries, the UAE and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, they are also joining this alliance, which also from a strategic perspective is a step forward towards achieving the common Arab market that we have been talking about for several years. Of course, in addition to this, this has the potential to increase Egypt's vital role in the region, as well as globally, towards achieving a more just
and
balanced world order, so that we can clearly see more balanced policies in addressing all the global challenges.
Yes, so we are before, and this has been actually mentioned in His Excellency the President of South Africa's speech, that is mainly also achieving a balanced world order, as we have talked also about the gains, the intra-trade among the member countries. So we talked also about the potential of further investments and inking partnerships in more than one field, namely technology is definitely
and boosting the tourism
this.
sector, of course.
Yes, yes, we'll come to the tourism sector. Okay, let us talk about the tourism sector.
Okay.
How far will such a membership affect positively and have a positive impact on the tourism sector, in your opinion?
Yeah, this is definitely a very important question, and especially in view of the rhetoric that has been surrounding the recent conference in Johannesburg and in South Africa. So we clearly see that there is a desire on the part of all the concerned countries to boost economic ties among the BRICS Plus members. So definitely tourism is one of them, especially in light of the strategic depth that Egypt holds culturally, historically, and also with regards to the soft power of Egypt when it comes to attracting tourists from all the parts of the world. So definitely for Egypt to become part of this economic bloc means more eased procedures for all, first, the member countries of this economic bloc or alliance, especially when we clearly see how is it Egypt, as a matter of fact, has what it takes when it comes to serving as a point of attraction. And especially this is something that the Egyptian state needs to focus on and make sure that it provides what it takes for serving as an attraction point for a larger number of tourists from across the globe, especially in view of the fact that I mentioned earlier that this is an economic bloc of countries that constitute nearly 40% of the population. So this definitely means a greater prospect for attracting more tourists on an annual basis.
Yes, definitely there are going to be also the sense of inking partnerships regarding strategic commodities among the member countries. And this is another plus in that respect regarding wheat and other products as well.
Of course. This is definitely very important, especially in view of the fact that one of the objectives of the BRICS bloc is to enable the member countries to trade using their own local currencies. So this is definitely fruitful with regards to two fronts here. The first one is the fact that this will boost the GDP of each and every country of the alliance, and also it will be a reason for achieving a less burden of the need to provide the US dollars, especially in light of the economic challenges that are faced around the globe. So definitely here the potential is high for all member states, clearly including Egypt, to benefit from joining this economic alliance in order to be in a position as well to go on with Egypt's vision with regards to its development plans, with regards to its 23 vision of achieving many plans with regards to the development of the economy, when it comes to expanding the agriculture and the green land within Egypt. And of course here, when we talk about the new development bank established by the BRICS countries, definitely this will empower Egypt and will make Egypt in a position, or will provide Egypt with the ability to benefit from the development bank through having soft loans that would enable Egypt to go on and to continue and to proceed with its development plans and the mega projects that the Egyptian state has been working on.
Yes, inking partnerships and definitely infrastructure, upgrading infrastructure is considered to be one of the important components as well, and creating jobs.
Of course.
Two important axes.
Definitely.
How far will joining the BRICS will serve those two interests?
Definitely, statistically speaking, unemployability is one big challenge that faces all the countries of the global south, and Egypt is not or is no exception in this regard. So of course for Egypt to join such a large global economy that consists of the BRICS plus countries means a greater potential for creating more jobs in light of the intra-trade deals within the countries of or among and within the countries of this economic bloc, and also for benefiting from the experience of the BRICS countries in this regard, and building on their experience in this regard, so that the employability rates can go higher.
Yes, on more than one axis, talking economic gains, further fostering intra-trade, attracting further investments, like knocking new doors. We have also political gains on the other side, fostering bilateral relations with members of the group is definitely a great plus.
Well, as a matter of fact, the very fact that Egypt has been invited officially to join the bloc is reflective of the success, as a matter of fact, of the foreign policy of the Egyptian state in this regard, because it reflects the strong relations that Egypt holds bilaterally with each and every country, and collectively with the members of the BRICS. And this is clearly reflected in the fact that only 6 countries have been invited, in spite of the fact that some reports say that the number goes to 40. All of this list of countries applied and expressed their wish to join the blocks, the BRICS bloc, but still they haven't been successful. So this, as a matter of fact, speaks volume of the continuous endeavors of the Egyptian state when it comes to benefiting from the potential that BRICS provides, as well as still working on maintaining a balanced approach on the global stage. I mean here, or i.e., still maintaining good relations with all the countries on the global stage.
Yes, definitely. This in addition, of course, to having great ambitions of the members of the bloc. I mean, when the bloc expands, there are certain ambitions in doing so. What are those ambitions, and where are we today?
As I mentioned earlier, definitely we are witnessing a very critical moment on the global stage. It is obvious that from a realist perspective, there are imbalances in the balance of power, globally speaking, and the very founding of the bloc of BRICS, which was at the very beginning only the 5 countries of BRIC, and later the admission of South Africa. This per se has been an attempt in order to empower and enable the economies of these developing countries in order to have a meaningful presence on the global stage, and also an attempt for them to improve their economies so that they are more in a position to maximize their benefits and uplift or boost the situation or the status quo of their economies.
Yeah.
And definitely for these countries, after more than 10 years now, to take the decision to increase or to expand the membership is definitely reflective of a vision to challenge the current status quo of the global stage, and to work towards achieving more a multipolar world order.
Yeah. Yes, we're talking also industrialization and talking more of green industry. The whole world is going green.
Yes.
And green technologies.
I do think that this is actually one of the challenges facing the BRICS alliance, because it is very crucial for this economic bloc to also work on the file of global warming and the climate crisis or challenge that is now facing all of humanity. So I do think that this is one of the challenges facing this economic alliance, and there is a dire need for all the members to work closely together in order for them all to live up to the required standards needed in order to tackle the challenge of global warming and the climate crisis.
Yes, definitely it has been a hit for Egypt. The criteria of choice, we talked about the criteria of choice. How do you see the future of this bloc, Dr. Hossam?
Let's be realistic here. Definitely, it is an ambitious attempt. We are still yet to witness the full scope of the mission and the vision and the results of this alliance. However, definitely the prospect is one that can enable us to foresee more steps taken forward in order to or towards achieving a multi-polar world order. Definitely, this poses great challenges for all the member countries, especially the newly admitted ones, including Egypt, in order to live up to the expectations of both the founding members or the inviting members as well as the people. So my point is, this is definitely a great opportunity to be seized. The challenges are high, as well as so are the opportunities. So this is why, and I do think that Egypt, the Egyptian state in this regard, is keen to benefit from such a considerable opportunity. And I do think that there is a need for all stakeholders within Egypt to benefit from such an opportunity in order to maximize the gains of the Egyptian state stemming from joining such a very important alliance. We need to see more efforts exerted in this regard. We also need to see meaningful steps taken to benefit from such an opportunity, so that we can definitely and meaningfully witness a more presence of Egypt on the regional stage as well as on the global arena, because definitely historically speaking, culture-wise, Egypt has the potential to function or to act as a very game changer when it comes to the definitely when it comes to the politics of the Mediterranean region as well as globally. So definitely, and this is reflective of a great opportunity towards achieving a more powerful Egypt and a more sustainable Egypt.
Yes, sure. Tomorrow is brighter, definitely, amidst the gains. We're looking forward to more gains after Egypt joining the BRICS. Dr. Hossam Allam, who is our global affairs expert tonight. Thank you so much for coming to Nile TV and for joining us on the Daily Debate Wednesday.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And I thank you, dear viewers, for joining us. That was the Daily Debate for tonight, and I'm Tagherit Hussein, thanking you all for watching.